Today we will see the anterior compartment of arm, medial, lateral, superior, inferior. Let's see the structures one by one. Let's see the muscles first. This is biceps brachii. You can see two heads. This is the short head of biceps brachii, and below that here, this is the long head of biceps brachii. So this is short head, which is arising from the coracoid process, and this is your long head. Long head is arising from the supraglenoid tubercle of scapula. So remember one thing, that the short head is placed medially, long head is placed laterally. Also, you can see the short head, the flattening of the short head as you move to the origin, whereas long head is slender. This is long head. Now we will see the next muscle, that is deep to the biceps brachii. This one. This is your brachialis muscle. Brachialis muscle. Okay. Brachialis muscle is inserted to the ulnar tuberosity of the ulna. It is arising from the humerus. Also, this is your biceps, right? We mentioned biceps. Biceps is inserted to the radius, radial tuberosity of radius. Now there is a short muscle which is superiorly placed here, medial to the biceps. This is biceps. Medial to that, you can see this muscle here, this muscle, that is coracobrachialis. So coracobrachialis is originating from the coracoid process, and it is inserted to the humerus. So you can see short head, this is short head of biceps brachii, and you can see the coracobrachialis. They run together. This is coracobrachialis, and this is short head of biceps brachii. Right? This is short head, and this is long head of biceps brachii. So the short head and the coracobrachialis, they run together. So the muscles here are biceps brachii, deep to that brachialis, then you have got coracobrachialis. These muscles are seen on the anterior compartment. Now let's see the other structures. Now medially, here you can see a structure. This is medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. Medial cutaneous nerve of forearm is accompanied by a vein here. This vein is called basilic vein. Now you can see a small nerve here, which is seen on the medial side. This nerve is medial cutaneous nerve of arm. Now let's see other structures. Here you can see another structure, which is here, this one. This is called ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve is piercing the deep fascia and going onto the posterior aspect of arm. Another structure that you can see here, this is median nerve. So let's see all the structures from where they are coming. So we'll start from here once again. This is medial cutaneous nerve of forearm, which is arising from here, from the medial cord. This is the axillary artery, and this is the medial cord, right? So this is arising from the medial cord. Similarly, I mentioned this one. This is ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve is also arising from medial cord. This is axillary artery, second part. Now I mentioned this one. This is medial cutaneous nerve of arm, which is also arising from medial cord. Now this one, this is median nerve, this one. Now median nerve, if you look at the median nerve, you can see this is a formation of median nerve here, right? Median nerve has got two roots. There are two roots. This is one root that is arising from medial cord. There is one more root, that is lateral root, that is arising from lateral cord. So this is the lateral cord, which is lying lateral to the axillary artery. So this is lateral cord, this is medial cord, and you can see the two roots here, and it forms median nerve. So median nerve also can be seen in the anterior aspect of arm. Now let's see other structures. This structure here, which is very near to the median nerve, this can be seen here. This is the brachial artery. So this structure here is brachial artery. Brachial artery is the continuation of axillary artery. So we need to trace it from here. So I hope you remember the median nerve here. The two roots of median nerve, that is the medial root and the lateral root. Now this is axillary artery. Axillary artery is continuing downwards. This is axillary artery. Axillary artery. So axillary artery beyond the teres major, so almost this area, it is called as brachial artery. Now this is brachial artery here, and the brachial artery can be seen here. It is accompanying the median nerve. So that is brachial artery. Okay. Now I hope you remember this lateral cord once again. So this is axillary artery. This is lateral cord. Now lateral cord gives a branch, this branch, which is piercing this muscle, coracobrachialis, that is called musculocutaneous nerve. Musculocutaneous nerve is piercing the coracobrachialis. So this is coracobrachialis, and the musculocutaneous nerve is piercing it. After piercing the coracobrachialis, musculocutaneous nerve can be seen here. So this is coracobrachialis, and this is biceps. Between biceps and brachialis, you can see the nerve here. This is nothing but the same musculocutaneous nerve, which is piercing it and coming out. Okay, now it is appearing between brachialis and biceps brachii. So this is your musculocutaneous nerve. Musculocutaneous nerve again moving downwards. Right, now it is leaving this area. This one, this is musculocutaneous nerve. It is going to pass to the forearm as lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm. Lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm is going to accompany this structure, that is cephalic vein. Now cephalic vein will continue upwards, and it will drain into the axillary vein. Musculocutaneous nerve, which is now between biceps brachii and the brachialis. It comes out here in between biceps brachii and the brachialis muscle. This is musculocutaneous nerve. Now it is going to continue as lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm, which is accompanied by cephalic vein. So this is cephalic vein, and cephalic vein will continue upwards, and it is between pectoralis major and the deltoid in this groove that is called deltopectoral groove. Musculocutaneous nerve that you have seen here is supplying coracobrachialis, biceps brachii and the brachialis. Brachialis is supplied by two nerves. One is musculocutaneous nerve. This is axillary artery. Axillary artery has got three parts. So this is pectoralis minor, which is dividing the axillary artery into three parts. Proximal part, that is first part, proximal to the pectoralis minor. This is first part, and this is second part, and this part is third part. So somewhere here, where I am keeping my forceps here, so this is the third part, the end of third part. After this area of the axillary artery, that is this part of the artery, after the forceps here, that is called as the brachial artery. So axillary artery is continuing as brachial artery. Somewhere here where I am keeping the forceps, that is the location of teres major below, and after the third part it is called as brachial artery. There is one more muscle in this area, which is a muscle of posterior compartment. You can see a part of posterior compartment here, this area. So here there is a muscle that is triceps brachii, which is behind. So why I am showing this is because you can see a nerve here, this nerve. This nerve is called radial nerve. Radial nerve is arising from the posterior cord of brachial plexus. So this is your posterior cord. Posterior cord is placed posterior to the axillary artery. So this is posterior cord, and this nerve here is radial nerve. Radial nerve is going to disappear from here, and it is going to appear in the spiral groove. Now when it is disappearing from this area, this radial nerve, it is going to pass through the spiral groove of humerus. Now there is a other structure which is accompanying the radial nerve. So this is radial nerve. So this is radial nerve, and this artery is brachial artery. So you can see a branch of brachial artery which is called profunda brachii. Profunda brachii is going to accompany the radial nerve. So profunda brachii and the radial nerve, they go together into the spiral groove of humerus. So this is the radial nerve, which is passing through the spiral groove. Now it is going to the posterior compartment of the arm. So this muscle here is triceps brachii here. So it goes to the posterior compartment. Now it is in the posterior compartment here, right, this side. Then it's, so after passing through the posterior compartment, it slowly comes to the anterior compartment. The radial nerve, after coming out from the posterior compartment, it reaches anterior compartment. It appears between the brachialis, this is brachialis, and brachioradialis. This is brachioradialis, this muscle. So this is brachialis, brachioradialis. In between that, this is your nerve, that is radial nerve. This is the radial nerve, the trunk of the radial nerve. The radial nerve at this point divides into two. This is superficial branch, and this is the deep branch. The deep branch will penetrate a muscle here. This muscle is forming the floor of cubital fossa, that is called supinator, which is wrapping the radius, upper aspect of the radius. The supinator is forming the floor of the cubital fossa, which is wrapping the radius. So you can see the deep branch is penetrating the supinator and it is passing deep, and it will be appearing on the posterior compartment of forearm. It will be known as posterior interosseous nerve. Now the superficial branch that we have seen here is going to move to the forearm, this one. Now this structure is appearing just below the muscle here, that is brachioradialis. So this muscle here is the brachioradialis, and you can see this nerve, this nerve, that is the superficial branch of radial nerve, is very close to the brachioradialis. So in fact, the superficial branch of radial nerve is hiding behind the brachioradialis. Now initially you can see it is below the brachioradialis, but slowly you can see it is becoming very superficial. Here, this is the radial nerve, superficial branch, and you can see the superficial branch becomes very superficial. Meanwhile, for short distance, this superficial branch will accompany this structure. This is radial artery. Radial artery is a branch of brachial artery. So here you can see this. This is the radial artery. So radial artery is arising from the brachial artery. So this is brachial artery. Brachial artery divides into radial artery. Here this is the division here. Brachial artery divides into radial artery and ulnar artery. So radial artery. Right. Radial artery can be seen. Our forearm is accompanying this vein, that is basilic vein. Basilic vein is going to continue upwards as the axillary vein. This is the axillary vein. So basilic vein is continuing as axillary vein, and this is axillary artery. So this is another specimen, a disarticulated upper limb. So this is left side upper limb, medial, this is medial, and this is lateral, superior, inferior. We are going to see this region, that is the upper aspect of the upper limb. So we are going to see the scapular region, anterior aspect. Also we will see the arm, anterior aspect. So this is a bone here, that is clavicle. And this muscle here, this is serratus anterior. So let's see the scapular region. This is lateral, this is medial, superior, inferior. So let's compare with this scapula here. So this is a left sided scapula, ventral aspect, and you are seeing the ventral aspect of scapula here, and you can see a muscle here, that is subscapularis. And on the medial border of the scapula, here is the medial border of scapula, you can see a muscle which is inserted, that is serratus anterior. This bulky muscle is subscapularis, which is attached to the ventral aspect of scapula. And you can see a muscle here, this is pectoralis minor, which is attached to the coracoid process of the scapula. Now let's see other structures here. Medially, here you may see the muscle, this is called rhomboidus major and minor, which is attached to the medial border of the scapula on the dorsal aspect. Remember, serratus anterior is attached to the ventral aspect, medial border, whereas rhomboidus minor and major is attached to the medial border of the scapula but on the dorsal aspect. Now let's see other structures. Here, this region is axilla. And one more muscle I would like to show, that this muscle, this is latissimus dorsi muscle. So this is the axillary region. So first we locate this artery here, that is axillary artery, second part of axillary artery, which is below the pectoralis minor muscle. So let's locate the cords here. So it is not very easy to locate the cords because it is disarticulated, the orientation is lost, but still we will try to do it. So this is your lateral cord of brachial plexus, and this side is medial cord of brachial plexus, and posteriorly here this is posterior cord of brachial plexus. So once again, this is axillary artery, laterally lateral cord, medially medial cord, and posteriorly posterior cord. This is posterior cord, which is the thickest. Now let's see the branches here. The lateral cord gives a branch, this branch. So this branch is called musculocutaneous nerve. So musculocutaneous nerve is piercing this muscle here. You can see pieces of muscle here. This is coracobrachialis muscle. Now it is going between biceps brachii. These are the biceps brachii muscle. A short head of biceps brachii, long head of biceps brachii. So you can see this now, that is between biceps brachii. This is biceps brachii, and the other muscle here, that is brachialis. So this is your musculocutaneous nerve. Musculocutaneous nerve is further continuing in the forearm. Now it is appearing between brachialis and the biceps brachii, and this is called as lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm. Musculocutaneous nerve will continue as lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm. Now let's see the other structures here. So coming to the brachial plexus, so we have seen the lateral cord, and now let's locate this nerve. This is median nerve. Median nerve is formed by the lateral root, which is coming from lateral cord, and medial root, which is coming from the medial cord. So these two roots joins to form median nerve. Median nerve is going to continue downwards. Now let's see the structures once again here. The cords, axillary artery, lateral cord, medial cord. Now from the medial cord, we have already seen this structure, that is medial root. Other structure which is arising from the medial cord, this one is called the ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve is going to penetrate the deep fascia and go deeper. Now here, axillary artery, lateral cord, medial cord, and here posterior cord. Now posterior cord is going to continue. You can see this here, a big nerve. That nerve that is going to pass onto the spiral groove, and it is called as radial nerve. The posterior cord above, so this is the axillary artery. So let's see the structures once again. Axillary artery, lateral cord, medial cord, and the posterior cord. Let's look at this way. So this is the posterior cord. The posterior cord here, you can see a nerve which is arising from the posterior cord at this level in the axilla. This nerve here is called axillary nerve. So this is axillary nerve which is arising from the posterior cord. After giving the axillary nerve, the posterior cord is going to continue as the radial nerve. Now that we have seen the structures, the axillary artery, lateral cord, medial cord, and this nerve which is arising from the medial cord, that is ulnar nerve, that we have seen already. Let's see one more nerve that is arising from the medial cord, this nerve. This nerve is a long nerve here that you can see, but slender. compared to the ulnar nerve. So this nerve here is called medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. So remember, medial cutaneous nerve of forearm and ulnar nerve, they lie together in the axilla but later changes the direction. But you can see the difference between these two. This is ulnar nerve, this is medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. Medial cutaneous nerve of forearm is thinner compared to the ulnar nerve. So this is medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. One more structure I would like to show you that is running with the medial cutaneous nerve of forearm, that is basilic vein. Basilic vein here is going to continue, and it is going to continue as a vein here, that is axillary vein. Axillary vein lies along with axillary artery. So this is the axillary vein, this structure here. So this is a basilic vein. Basilic vein is continuing and it is forming the big vein here, that is axillary vein.